Think you know how to behave on a flight? Think again. What you're about to hear comes straight from the crew members who live through the skies every single day. They've seen the best in people and the absolute worst. Packed overhead bins, tension rising during boarding, passengers snapping over reclined seats. But that's just the surface. We dug deeper, and what they revealed isn't in your travel guide. It's what happens when the seatbelt sign is on, and people stop listening. Here are just a few of the shocking real-life incidents. A woman claims she was flashed mid-flight, her toddler sitting right beside her. An ex-police captain, drunk and disorderly, accused of groping flight attendants. Another passenger, caught cutting toenails at 30,000 feet. These aren't internet rumors. These are real reports, filed, documented, ignored, until now. So, what makes someone forget basic decency the moment they step onto a plane? And what do flight attendants really want you to stop doing? Stay with us, because tip 9 is something most passengers do, and most crew absolutely despise. Tip 1. Don't blame flight attendants for delays. You're stuck on the tarmac. The clock keeps ticking. Tempers rise. But before you aim your frustration at the nearest flight attendant, stop. Flight attendants don't control the weather. They don't fix the engines. They're not calling the shots from the control tower. Most delays? They're tied to things far beyond their control. Air traffic congestion can ground flights for hours, even if your plane is ready. Thunderstorms hundreds of miles away can throw off the entire airport schedule. Mechanical checks required by law can't be skipped, even if you're running late. And sometimes it's all three at once. Blaming the cabin crew won't make the delay end faster, but it will make a tough situation even worse. They're not the reason you're late. They're the reason you're safe. Tip 2. They notice when you're rude, and they remember. Think a snide comment or cold stare goes unnoticed. It doesn't. Flight attendants see hundreds of passengers a day. But the rude ones? They stand out. And they don't forget. In a high-stress, high-speed environment, attitude matters. A simple please or thank you can change everything. Not just for them but for you. Studies show that passengers who engage politely are more likely to receive assistance in an emergency. Why? Because trust builds fast. And behavior matters when seconds count. One flight attendant told us anonymously, "I had 2 passengers seated side by side. One greeted me, smiled, and asked how my day was. The other didn't even make eye contact. Guess who I brought an extra snack to when we ran low?" It's not favoritism. It's human nature. Kindness doesn't cost you anything, but in the air it can go a long way. Tip 3. Headphones off during safety demos. You've heard it before. Please remove your headphones for the safety demonstration. And yet many don't. Some pretend not to hear. Others just ignore it. But here's the truth. It's not just courtesy. It's about survival. The FAA requires that passengers receive safety instructions before every flight. Flight attendants must visually confirm you're listening. Because in an emergency, what you heard in those 90 seconds could save your life. Every aircraft is different. Exit locations change. The way you open a door or use your life vest depends on the plane you're flying. And no, your frequent flyer status doesn't make you immune. One flight attendant put it plainly. Some of the most confident travelers are the least prepared when things go wrong. You're not just a passenger. You're part of the safety plan. And it starts with listening. Wait, did that just change how you see airplane seats? Then hit like, because we're just getting started. Want the secrets flight attendants won't say out loud? Subscribe now and you'll never fly the same way again. Let's move to tip 4, and trust me, this one's going to surprise you. Tip 4. Don't ask for water during boarding. Can I get a cup of water? Seems harmless, right? Wrong. Asking during boarding, worst possible time. Flight attendants are busy. They're checking safety equipment, verifying seat counts, making sure carry-ons don't throw off balance. Every second counts. Water? That comes later when the plane is secure and in the air. One crew member told us, "If I leave the front to get water for one passenger, I'm no longer monitoring the door. That's a security issue." Here's a better idea. Use the refill stations before you board. Most airports have them. Bring an empty bottle and fill it before your gate is called. It's quicker for you and safer for everyone. Tip 5. The lavatory isn't as clean as you think. That floor in the airplane lavatory is not just water. Flight attendants know this. That's why they always wear gloves when cleaning or restocking. But passengers? Too many walk in with just socks, or worse, barefoot. In one study, nearly 70% of airplane bathroom surfaces tested positive for harmful bacteria. And the floor? That's where the worst of it collects. Flush handles, sink taps, toilet latches, all touched, rarely disinfected mid-flight. One flight attendant put it bluntly, if you knew what ended up on that floor during turbulence, you'd never walk in there without shoes again. Here's the tip. Keep your shoes on. Avoid setting anything on the sink. And wash your hands thoroughly every time you're flying in close quarters. Clean habits matter more than you think. Tip 6. You're being watched closely for safety. From the moment you step onto the plane, someone is watching, not to judge your outfit, not to guess your seat, but to scan for threats. Every flight attendant is trained to spot danger before takeoff. Unusual behavior, slurred speech, excessive sweating, visible agitation. These aren't ignored. They're logged. And if you're flagged as a risk, there's a protocol. Unruly passengers can be restrained, reported, or even removed before the door closes. But it doesn't stop there. They're also watching for signs of illness, coughing fits, fainting, anything contagious or life-threatening. One flight attendant told us, if someone looks unwell, we quietly notify the captain and gate crew. Sometimes, we delay departure to get a medical clearance. You may not see it, but the safety net is always in motion. Tip 7. The cart has a purpose, don't block it. That beverage cart you see is not just for snacks. It's part of the flow, the essential movement that keeps the cabin running smoothly. And if you're standing in the aisle when it's coming, you're not just slowing service. You're creating a safety hazard. Flight attendants don't have time to navigate around passengers blocking the way. They're required to clear the aisles quickly in case of an emergency. A cart stopped in a narrow aisle could delay an evacuation. Even a minute can make a difference. So when you're seated, make sure your belongings are stowed and clear. And if you're chatting, step aside for the crew. It's a small action that helps everyone. Here's a quick tip. Pre-select your snack or drink choice before the cart arrives. It speeds things up for you and everyone else around you. Think of the cart as the lifeline of in-flight service. Blocking it? That could cause more problems than you realize. Tip 8. Alcohol in the air hits harder. You've heard it before. Have a drink. It's vacation after all. But what you may not know, alcohol affects you differently at 30,000 feet. The science behind it is simple. At higher altitudes, your body is already dehydrated. The dry air in the cabin pulls moisture from your skin and lungs. So when you drink, your body absorbs alcohol faster. That one drink you'd have on the ground, it can feel like 2 or 3 up in the air. And sometimes that's when things go wrong. A flight attendant shared a harrowing story. A man had 2 drinks in quick succession. By the time we hit cruising altitude, he was stumbling around, slurring his speech and getting aggressive. We had to divert the flight to remove him. The whole crew was on edge. In extreme cases, unruly passengers have led to emergency landings, delays, injuries, disruptions. So here's the tip. Stick to just 1 drink if any when flying. It's not about being a buzzkill. It's about keeping the peace and ensuring everyone gets to their destination safely. Tip 9. Don't ring the call button right after takeoff. You're on the plane. The seatbelt sign goes off, and then you hit the call button. But here's the thing. Right after takeoff, that's the worst time to call for attention. Flight attendants are focused on securing the cabin. Seats need to be checked. Overhead bins need to be verified. And they're monitoring the cockpit for any early flight issues. During this critical time, the crew's primary responsibility is your safety, not your drink order or blanket request. Aviation regulations dictate this is when the cabin must be secure. And when it's not, the crew is on high alert. So here's the hack. Take a minute before takeoff to prep. Have your seatbelt on. Make sure your device is stowed. And if you need something, ask before the plane hits the sky. By waiting just a few minutes, you're helping ensure the crew can focus on their job, keeping you safe. Tip 10. They're trained for emergencies, not just snacks. When you think of flight attendants, you probably picture someone serving snacks or drinks. But that's only part of the job. What you may not realize is that flight attendants are trained to be first responders. They're not just here to answer your questions. They're here to save lives. Training goes beyond customer service. They're certified in CPR. They're trained to fight fires. They practice emergency evacuations regularly. One flight attendant shared a chilling story. We were on a flight, about an hour into the journey, when a passenger collapsed. They had a heart attack right there in their seat. I rushed to their side, performed CPR, and within moments, my team joined in. We got the defibrillator and stabilized them until we could land. The crew stayed calm, like we'd done it 100 times before, because we had. These aren't isolated incidents. Flight attendants are trained to handle medical crises, fires, and even extreme weather conditions, all while keeping you calm and safe. So the next time you board, remember, these professionals are much more than waitstaff. They're trained to protect you in ways you may never expect. Tip 11. You have no idea how exhausting this job is. You might think flight attendants have an easy gig, but you'd be wrong. Long shifts, jet lag, multiple time zones, and dealing with hundreds of passengers, day in and day out. One flight attendant shared, after a 12-hour shift, I might be working in 3 different time zones. It's exhausting, and the physical demands of constantly moving, lifting heavy carts, and dealing with turbulence takes a toll on your body. It's not just the physical strain. There's the emotional toll, too. Flight attendants are expected to stay calm and friendly, no matter what kind of day they're having. The next time you fly, remember this. They're human, too. Treat them with respect. A smile. A simple thank you. It goes further than you think. Because in the end, they're not just serving meals or drinks. They're making sure you get where you're going, safely and comfortably. Bonus tips. Unspoken rules you should never break. And now, a few unspoken rules from flight attendants. Things you might not have known, but should always keep in mind. First, don't bring smelly food on board. One attendant shared, we've had passengers open up their takeout meals, and suddenly the whole cabin smells like garlic, onions, or something worse. It's unbearable for everyone else. So, next time you're packing for a flight, think twice before grabbing that pungent lunch. Second, never ever go barefoot. Seems harmless, but flight attendants beg you not to. Your feet are exposed to dirty surfaces, germs, and even potential hazards. A simple slip could lead to an injury. So please keep your shoes on for your own safety. Finally, the most serious one. Never joke about bombs. One flight attendant recalled, a passenger once joked about having a bomb in their bag. Took us an hour to clear the cabin and make sure everything was safe. What's funny to you is terrifying to the crew, and it causes massive delays. Remember, safety is no joke. These aren't rules they make up for fun, they're common sense. Keep them in mind on your next flight to make things smoother for everyone, including the crew. And with that, you're now armed with the inside scoop on flying. Remember, flight attendants are here to keep you safe, not just serve snacks. A little respect goes a long way. Now, I want to know, which tip surprised you the most? If you fly often, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow travelers. Help spread the word and make flying a little bit better for everyone. Until then, stay safe, be kind, and enjoy your travels.